All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Represented series, our Fireside Edition. And of course, happy Juneteenth. Extremely excited to have you all tune in today. And of course, if you're not watching live, you can always catch the recording on either our YouTube or from our main website under Chip Live. I'm excited to bring in our next guest who is Matthew Gilbert. Welcome, Matthew.
Good morning, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm excited for today, our discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise. And again, happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, same to
Um, I
you.
felt it appropriate. I'm gonna pull down my camera to show my entire hoodie.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I felt like that's what you wear all the time, but especially on Juneteenth, right? There's
I
no
heard
better
that.
time to give all those shout outs.
Love it. I love it. Definitely time to celebrate freedom and liberation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Especially for myself as a HBCU grad. So shout out to NCCU and all my fellow Eagles. Had to get that in quickly.
Squad.
But how does it feel for you? How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Being able to over the weekend attend Juneteenth events and throughout the next week or so attend some more of those events that really sort of celebrate Black heritage, Black culture, and sort of show the dynamic of Black freedom and what that looks like, especially from our art, our media, and our film. So I'm really excited to just really have this opportunity throughout the month of June to just celebrate Black culture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than being able to share stories and really help people understand the magnitude of it and the importance, right? This is just not another holiday to have time off, but really take that time to reflect, to understand, to learn, to grow, right? Teaching your kids about the importance of all those things. So I'm glad to hear you and all
Yeah.
the stuff that you're doing. But before we jump into, a lot of our conversation, please tell everyone about who you are, what you're doing,
Okay.
and what you've had going on.
Awesome, awesome. So my name is Matthew Gilbert, Esquire. I'm an attorney, a social entrepreneur, and I'm also a philanthropist. And I'm really excited to share a little bit more about my business, MRG and Associates, and what we do. We're an advanced planning firm, and so we work with founders, we work with entrepreneurs, we work with families, businesses, and communities, and really helping them build a wealth system as well as helping them create a legacy that is impactful. So I'm really excited to both have an opportunity to be at the ground level with you, Dana, but also to celebrate some of the hard work that you've been doing, as well as your team, to really pull the financial industry by the coattail and sort of let them understand and let them know that there is a what would I call it, there is a human element when it comes to financial services that really requires you to have a level of consciousness, right? When it comes to other cultures, when it comes to people. And a lot of times we just don't get a chance to see that, regardless of where we're working, whether we're working in just the service side, whether we're working in client management side, whether we're working with asset management side. But behind those numbers, there are people. And I'm really here to kind of let you understand that those people matter. Their stories matter, their legacy matters, and most importantly, they have families that matter as well. So I'm excited to just kind of have that dialogue with you here today, as well as sort of share some of my experience working in finance, whether it's for Fortune 500 companies or even in my private enterprise. So I'm really excited to at least share my experience so far.
No, awesome, and we can't wait to hear more about it. And I think you said a lot of things that I love, and thank you for your continued support and all that we're doing here at Chip. And of course, we can't do that without you, right? Without your face and your journey and being in this industry. But you said one thing that I love, which has become really my favorite word about treating people like humans, right? I think we've kind of gotten away from that, and we've sort of forgot that in a lot of different ways. But what does that mean to you? Because you use that word, and I would like to, talk about it a little bit more. What does it mean to really treat someone as human and bring that into your wealth practice?
Yeah, it really goes back to the golden rule, right? Treat people how you want to be treated first and foremost, right? And then in addition to that, make sure that there is a level of respect and that comes with, I think, the spectrum of education and literacy that people have when it comes to financial products, financial services, and just the industry itself. A lot of times I find folks, whether you're in the call center or whether you're working with clients directly, a lot of times you sort of miss out on being able to build trust and build a sense of belonging, specifically with that particular client or customer. And a lot of times these big financial firms are so big that they can, easily treat you how they want to treat you. And a lot of times that doesn't come with the level of emotional intelligence. And so when I talk about treating people like humans, I'm talking about bringing in the emotional intelligence, bringing in the other skill sets that are necessary to just have good people conversations, to have good people relations, and then more importantly, to help solve problems. I feel like when people trust each other, they solve problems at a very high clip and at a very high rate.
Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
No, I absolutely agree. I think that it's getting back to basics and helping to remind people of their value and our value that we're giving to them. Right, we're in a position where we're serving others. We got into these businesses because we want to help people excel, not just with their finances, but just overall, right, in everything that they do. All of those things touch. So more specifically into your practice and your business, how did you even get started in this industry? I mean, a lot of us come from different places. I have more so a background in marketing and always felt like that would be my sweet spot, but it's also been a joy to pull that into my business as well. But how did you get started? Why are you here?
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm here because of you, Dana. So thankful that we got a chance to connect. But I got started as an entrepreneur. And so I sort of, as an entrepreneur early on, sort of had always these headaches where I started to deal with tax and legal questions, right? And, I'm in the Midwest, right? I'm here in Iowa. So I didn't really always have anybody that looked like me that I could go to answer those questions. So a lot of times I would sort of get sort of the small answer or just the small support, where I know that, when it comes to taxes specifically, this is one area where I feel like the BIPOC community really gets taken advantage of. And so for me, I really specifically went to law school to study tax law because I also come from a place of generational poverty. And so I also wanted to help other families and other businesses really transition wealth from one generation to the next. And so the intergenerational transfer of wealth, as well as learning tax law, is specifically why I went to law school. And from that, I've really been able to build a healthy practice that really centers around meeting clients where they are, right? A lot of times it may be establishing trust in estates, right? Or it might be just helping a family navigate through probate, which sometimes is just a headache. Or it might actually be helping clients navigate sort of complex assets, whether it be real estate assets, whether it be intellectual assets, or whether it be just their entire wealth. And so what's been exciting for me is that I get a chance to sit back and quarterback really bringing on the sort of wealth team. And so we start with really being able to sort of help you identify who's on your team, right? Let's identify those professional advisors. Let's identify that professional team. But then in addition to that, let's also do our due diligence on these investments. Let's do our due diligence on the work that we're doing, as well as taking care of what we may call the cash cow, right? Or the part of the business that's really making us money. And so as an entrepreneur, I'm able to kind of lean into not only sort of the operational side of the business, how do you make this work, right? But also I'm able to offer some high level advice when it comes to navigating both financial as well as non-tax and tax issues.
Awesome. So what is your role that you take with your clients, right? Walk us through kind of that journey that you take with them, and also the journey that I think how your clients have changed you, right? A lot
Good.
of times, yeah, we're working with clients and we're helping them, but there's often times where I feel like they're also helping us to do better, be
Yeah.
better people, be better business professionals. So how has it been for you on both sides?
Hands down. So, still young in my career, still early in my career, right? I, didn't want to take the transactional approach to law, right? Now, I went to school to study transactional law, but I didn't want to be a transactional attorney specifically
I was like,
because I
how's that working?
yeah, it's working. It's working brilliantly. So long as I make sure that I coach clients along the way, that my services aren't necessarily like an expense item. All right. So what happens is a lot of folks, they may hire an attorney or they want me on their team, and they just want to pay me just to be, just so they have some back office in, some back end support. Where for me, a lot of the work that I've been doing has been more transformational. And so what I've actually been able to do is actually meet not only the founder and the entrepreneur where they are, meet the business where they are, meet the family where they are, or in the work that we do in the public sector, meet the community where they are. And so that allows us to really offer a lot more transformational support, whether it's coaching, whether it's advising, or whether it's just general consulting. What we're trying to do is basically not only solve problems, but also try to make this process of building wealth easier, right? And to be easy requires us to do the things that don't require us to make mistakes, that don't require us to double back around and do extra work, but also it keeps folks sort of feeling like they are prime investors in their enterprise or in their family or in their local community. And so the role that we've taken is really more of as an advisor. We actually are a part of the board and we actually build the governance structure. We also help families understand, specifically families, help them understand why family planning is important. And so we also get a chance to be a part of the family, right? And we get invited to that backyard barbecue, right? We're just not somebody you call on Monday.
Well, quick question about the barbecue. So
Yeah.
are you bringing your own Tupperware to the barbecue, or are you leaving with everyone else's?
I might be leaving with your Tupperware. I
See?
might, or foil
Or
wrap.
for the foil with the paper
Yeah,
wrap.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Just
But I'll just say
clarifications
this.
there. People need to know what they need to put out
Yeah,
when
I
you
just
come to
say
the
this.
barbecue.
It
It's
depends.
important.
It depends. It depends. And so, for myself, I work with a diverse range of clients, right? Some of my clients are in rural parts of the world. Some of them are in urban settings. Some of them have no connection with either one of them, and they're just maybe new to America in that sense. And so I'm just really excited to be able to meet folks where they are and really be a part of their advisory team, both helping them manage both assets as well as helping them manage some of their governance, as well as the specific heartbeat of their business or their enterprise. And so I'm excited that I get a chance to be part of the family more so than I am just kind of someone you call Monday through Friday. They're calling me on the weekends. I'm a part of the barbecue. I'm going to all the graduations, right? I'm at the business open house. I'm really a part of helping the business realize its dreams, and I'm really excited that I get to pour my work and my expertise into that.
That's awesome. So it's really about, you're that asset for them, right? You're that professional and family asset, which is so important. And you spoke a lot about the things that I find important, especially as we continue to grow and build Chip, about team. And I think sometimes that's overlooked as how important that is to have that team surrounding you, and not only have the team surrounding you, but the team actually know each other, right?
Yeah.
So that they're all building that bridge for you. Because we're all out here where we're talking to 20 million different people and they're all telling us different things, and none of them are actually talking, right?
Exactly.
So how important has that been for you to put that in place within your practice,
Yes.
and making sure that you're surrounding your clients with great people that also, that can really have their back as well?
Yeah, exactly what you said. Make sure that they have their back. And so early on in my career, I used to just do the handoff, right? Hey, go work with this client, or go work with this CPA, or go work with this financial advisor. But what I've learned is that they may not have the same level of service integrity that I have, right? They might just be working for a big box and they just want to sort of do their job from here to there. Whereas my clients know that we're in each other's lives. And so one of the first things that I had to do was acknowledge sort of my role in the team and my responsibility to do the due diligence for who we're bringing on the team. Then I had to actually make that a part of our governance structure. So then we have this sort of built-in sort of strategic model that allows us to go out and grow, but but we're growing at the pace that's really good for the client and not growing at the pace that I need in order to do my work. Otherwise, what ends up happening is I end up doing everybody else's work, and I end up having to coach them and spend time coaching them on how to help the client and vice versa. Whereas now what we do is we sort of do our due diligence. We invite the client to an interview. That client sort of gets an opportunity to ask that particular professional questions, get to learn about that professional, and then we go back to the table, myself and the client, and we talk, right, about sort of what did you like, what didn't you like, and sort of where are areas where we feel like there's growth, right? If we find that we've come across an advisor or a professional that allows themselves to kind of blend with our value system, right? Then that's when we kind of go ahead and start that engagement. Yeah, I'll look through the contracts. Yeah, I'll look through the fee schedule. Yeah, we'll get all of that. But really what we're looking for is to make sure that who we're bringing on the team aligns with our value chain. And that value chain is something that's driven by the client of mine, not just by my organization as well. We help you shape the value chain, but specifically we want a value chain that aligns and is more so an asset for the underlying client.
No, that's awesome. And it really speaks to culture, right? Because we have a lot of conversations around company culture and how you really just embed those unique, kind of intangible things within how you want stuff to exist, right? How you want your clients to view you, how you want other team members, whether they're internal or external. Everyone kind of shares that same paradigm. So it all fits together and it makes sense. And even if it is more of an internal external handoff, it doesn't feel that way, right? It feels like just someone else is kind of coming in and wrapping their hands around you. So it's great to hear you say that. And I would love to hear more about, how it is when clients actually see you, right? Because there is something to be said about seeing you, hearing your voice, hearing more about your story as a Black man in financial services, as an attorney, and what that truly means to clients and to just anyone who wants to understand that path and that journey and feel like, hey, there is actually a place for me to be successful in these industries.
Yeah, exciting enough. When I started my career during the Obama era, there really was not a huge invite for Black professionals, Black attorneys like myself in the Midwest to really find space, right? And so I really had to, fight tooth and nail really to create a space of my own. But more importantly, I had to kind of give more than I actually was willing to receive. Now, I'm sowing the seeds, the fruit of all of those seeds. I'm being able to see that now I'm actually able to literally kind of price my services right at the value, not at just market value, but at the value that I'm bringing with my experience, with my expertise, but also with the cultural lens that I have, especially when it comes to building legacy type businesses. And I would say more of our specialty is really building these legacy businesses. So when they see me, they see that I'm young, they see that I'm motivated, I'm energetic, but that I'm in shape and I'm healthy and I'm thinking healthy, my mind is healthy, I'm positive. So it just becomes this sort of easy connection that we have where not only are we talking about just kind of getting work done, but we're also sharing stories around sort of how we grew up and what life is like, and for me as a professional in this space, especially here in the Midwest, it really is hard to find sort of your tribe, right? And so I represent myself specifically at a high level when it comes to really being able to engage with my clients. And so regardless of if you are going to engage my services or not, I at least want to make a connection with you because not only do I serve in sort of some public official spaces, but I also am a member of the community. So you might see me out, and I don't want that instance that we had to be one where you're scratching your head about me, right? I want you to know as much as you need to know about me, as much as you want to know, as much as it is possible for us to figure out. Not only maybe it's not this deal, maybe it's the next deal that we start to tee up and start to build a relationship with. But for me, the first thing that they'll see is that, hey, he's really genuine. He really wants to build a relationship with us, and he's a knowledgeable guy. So let's actually entertain what he's talking about, even if I have to do a little bit more educating them on sort of why my services are of value and why you need them.
Right. It's giving them the full picture, right? The full breadth and depth of everything that you're doing and will continue to do for them, right? As clients or potential clients or just kind of people within your network so that they think of you when their client might have that problem that you're an expert in, right? You talk a lot about working with businesses around working with founders, which is a whole nother thing in itself, right? We are something else. we we think differently and really want to push our passions into the world. So how do you work with founders? How do you work with people who are running, small businesses or just businesses in general? And what are the things that also keep you winning, right? Because there's a mindset that I think is just adopted as a business owner that I'm sure you pour into other business owners and founders as well.
Totally. So first and foremost, I don't get in their way, right? I let them sort of dream big. I let them have the big imaginations, right? A lot of times they'll talk to an attorney that tell them all the things that they can't do. Yeah, I'm going to get you through the compliance stuff. I'm going to get you through the regulatory environment, but I also want you to figure out, hey, we actually might be creating something that's disruptive, like chip, right? Where we actually might be taking the industry and kind of shaking it up a little bit. And I'm with that. So for me, I like to not only actually be 10 toes down with my founders, right? I like to see what you're seeing. I like to hear what you're hearing. I want to feel that heartbeat that you have, right? Because there's going to be days where you're going to maybe need me or need somebody that's going to help you kind of just get out of bed to know that this dream is still possible, especially when you have doors shut in your face. And so for me, one of the things that keeps me going is that the energy that I'm able to sort of drive myself, a lot of times is from the energy that I'm sharing or the energy that I'm getting from my clients, from my founders or my entrepreneurs or the family businesses, right? Because they are really, they need me in a way that allows me to push myself a little bit more, right? I need to learn a little bit more. I need to stay healthy. I need to make sure that I'm secure within my person within my daily life so I can show up for those moments. And the reason why I'm saying I like to show up in that way is because a lot of times founders some of them are building like startups, fast startups, but a lot of us in the BIPOC community are building legacy businesses, right? Businesses that we can pass along to the next generation. And so because of that, I really want to make sure that I'm sort of building a rapport with my clients that is healthy for me, not one that is sort of dragging me through the mud or keeping me kind of without energy, but one that actually energizes me and we can energize each other. And so I get a lot of people energy, but I also take time in making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do to stay healthy, right? Staying fit, staying in the gym, staying eating healthy, making sure that I have healthy habits have been very, very helpful for me to make sure that I can stay at a high energy level for my clients. Because when they call me, they don't want to hear me sort of down and out. They want to know that I'm ready to sort of take on whatever exciting task or exciting dream that they dreamt up last night. So I want to be there to show up in those instances. And so in order to do that, I have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself as a professional.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so many great gems there, right? About self-care, around mental awareness, about being self-aware, right? I think that's half the battle whenever you're running a business or just existing personally, is about being aware of those moments when you might need the reflection, and taking time to do so and taking time to take care of yourself. We also have to put our seatbelts on first before we can put on others. And sometimes we forget that, especially in certain communities where we're always trying to serve and help others. But I'm glad you make a point to really focus on you so that you can focus and help others to make them better. And then that cycle just continues. So I want to go back to something that you said earlier around family and the family unit. How do you help empower other people to have these conversations? A lot of what we're talking about is not always easy, legacy and how you leave legacy and the path towards that and just the conversation around it can be tough, can be hard. It can also be, maybe even some trauma there for some families. How do you help to walk people through those conversations to let them know that, hey, I can help you walk through this with you, or providing them the tools to do it themselves?
Yeah. So first, I share my story with them that I am a first generation wealth creator, right? And so a lot of my clients are in that similar situation. And so we kind of find an affinity for one another because we're figuring it out, right? And so it's a little easier when you sort of are putting the shoes on at the same time. And that's a lot of times what we're doing. But I'll also always invite the entire family, right? I start off with, if there's a spouse in the conversation, I start there. And then we start to think about the children and the children's future. But then we also look at sort of what does long-term care, or what does sort of the life expectancy of maybe the parents, right, look like. If there are grandparents in the conversation, we invite them to the conversation. So we have family meetings at least once a year, if not quarterly. And along those lines, we're talking business, but then I'm allowing the family to adopt some of these same governance items, right? Where we're meeting regularly, where we're having these tough discussions, but I also try to make sure that memory, right? Your memory, especially your memory of money, right? Your memory of money is your memory, but doesn't have to always be the truth, right? And so what we start to do is debunk a lot of the myths that may be within the family or that have been passed along from one generation to the next. That allows us to start operating from the same vantage point, from the same facts, right? Once we have the same information, we're both in a similar situated position, everything else is easy from them. I can just start pointing you in a different direction, as well as start bringing on different types of supports to really help you see that, hey, this wealth creation journey is not one that I have to finish only in my life, but one that if I start a healthy foundation, my children's children will be able to sort of continue to run that race. And so I make sure that they understand that this is definitely a marathon, that we will get through parts of a sprint, but the sprinting will not be only our responsibility. It might be the responsibility of the spouse or the children or the grandchildren at some point. And what we want to do is make sure that they have the right shoes, the right gear, the right support, the right equipment, everything that they need as far as tools to really be successful. And once they start to see that this is bigger than just themselves as a founder or as a first generation wealth creator, then it becomes this sort of, we're in this together. I start seeing different items as far as, I shouldn't say different items, but different behaviors, right? Start to shift a little bit, right? One time we used to just travel just for fun. Now we're traveling because we're looking at property. We're traveling because we're looking at investments. We're traveling because we're meeting people. We're networking. We're building. We're growing. So it becomes more of an enterprise function now of some of the family behaviors versus the dysfunctional, oftentimes family behaviors that we've kind of assumed or maybe have learned. And so I try to unlearn as much as we can, but then try to replace that learning with new habits and new behaviors and new information to help support a solid foundation.
Yeah. All of that. Especially around behaviors, right? Because sometimes it's hard to unlearn those learned behaviors when they've been pushed across generation, right? It's hard not to acknowledge the fact that, today is obviously Juneteenth, and we've been celebrating for, I really want to say years, or trying to celebrate for years, and, being engulfed in all of those behaviors, right? The things that we were taught, the things that we were told don't belong to us, and all these different things around financial health and wellness, and also mental wellness and self-care. And now we're starting to really unlearn and unravel all of those things. And, you have all of this new generation, and even the generation after that, which I can only imagine, where they're going to be. But it's such a beautiful thing to start to watch all of the seeds that have been planted from years before really start to take flight in those different behaviors, the way that we are taking care of ourselves, the difference in the way that we travel, right? You are absolutely right, where people are now more so traveling, yes, to travel, but while they're there, their minds are open to all these different possibilities that I feel like we didn't think about before, and maybe not even thought that, hey, this was something that I can actually attain while I'm visiting, wherever that place is. Oh, I see something for sale. And your brain is triggered not to just look past that, but actually take a second deep thought into that. Like, what if my family gets together or my friends get together? And I feel like we've been seeing a lot more articles of friends and family teaming up and doing exactly what you're talking about. So what has been one of the best stories that you can share from a client perspective where they were like, man, I was able to do X, Y, and Z, and what was that thing?
Yeah. So one of the sort of successes that's still a growing success is a father who spent time, unfortunately, in prison. And while he was in prison, learned some skills, learn horticulture, learn how to take care of land, learn how to take care of plants. And when he was released, felt like, you know what, I want to do this as a business. So started this business, and it crawled, it grew. But then sort of I got with him maybe, I'd say maybe 9 or 10 years after he started the business, and he was really interested in wanting to grow the family so his sons can take over the business, so his daughters can take over the business. And so I was a part of really helping the family sort of build some more infrastructure, as far as legal infrastructure, as well as helping them sort of kind of manifest this vision of the next generation taking over as CEO and as bosses. And not only have we done that, but now we're actually got retirement savings, we've got healthcare, we have an employment staff of even up to 10 plus people growing this business. And it's been exciting because we started off with simple things like landscaping to now we're doing like commercial real estate investing, right? We're looking at commercial properties, purchasing these commercial properties, turning them over so they can be used for community good as well as for commercial use. And it's been exciting to see not only doing business with the Department of Transportation, but doing business with other sort of governmental entities. Has been exciting to see this individual who was at one point in time had his freedom sort of taken away from him, but didn't want to sort of stop there and wanted to take time to grow his business, but also make sure his family was a part of his business. And I've just been a part of helping to protect the family, helping to protect the business, and excitingly helping to grow them. And they've been growing at 10x, since. And I'm talking like at a 5-year clip, they've basically 100% turning over their revenues to the point where, as I mentioned, we're into now the investment side of the business. We're making capital, and we actually need to turn that capital into residual capital. So it's been exciting to see that success, but that family, right, nurture sort of this sort of family experience of building a family business and then sort of growing that family business into a new investment lane for their family.
Wow, that's amazing. And such a powerful story about the ability to, somewhat live the American dream, right? People can, like, life happens, right? Things happen to people, and that shouldn't be the end of their story. So it's always amazing to see the best part of who they always wanted to be and knew that they could be, and have that come to fruition, and not just for themselves, but for their families, and teach their kids, like, hey, you might have bumps in the road, but you will always be the person that you were intended to be. So that's such a powerful and amazing story. And thank you for sharing. And I have two last questions for you. First one is, what is the legacy that you hope to leave? And then the second one is, what brings you joy?
Okay, awesome. I'll start with the legacy that I want to leave. The legacy I want to leave is one where I've actually developed compassionate leaders who both have a mentality, but also are helpful in manifesting greatness, right? And not only just in ourselves as individuals, but in ourselves as a collective, right? So those compassionate leaders that can manifest greatness is really what I want to build a tribe of, right? And what brings me joy, really healthy habits and healthy behaviors bring me joy. So I enjoy being able to get enough sleep when I can get enough sleep. I enjoy being able to exercise when I can exercise. I enjoy eating healthy. But I also enjoy spending time with the family, if that just means, just kind of having fun and just not having to look at my clock or go to this appointment or that appointment. So for me, doing good it brings me joy, but also having time to spend time with my family and spend time with others really is exciting me, bringing me joy. I love to volunteer. I'm a mentor. And so giving my time is also something that brings me joy. And so I've had to balance that, right, with feeling appreciated, with also sort of, hey, this might actually be a cost item that we need to get to. But really giving really brings me joy, as well as having those healthy habits bring me joy.
Awesome. Love to hear it. In addition to, all the things that you said, this has been just a great, phenomenal conversation. And thanks for all of the gems that you dropped, the stories that you shared. Please tell people where they can find you and reach out to you.
Yeah, please. Right now, we're building our website capacity right now, but you can follow my personal brand at mrgreatnessofficial.com, and then you can learn a little bit more about some of the coaching and the sort of transformational support that I offer. Right now, we still are a people to people business, and so you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on all social media, Mr. Greatness _ official, and please connect with me because I'm active in my social media. Definitely looking for folks that are really helpful and want to help build the tribe.
Awesome. Well, happy to hear that. Thank you so much for taking some time on this amazing holiday, this Juneteenth holiday, to talk with me and to celebrate all that is you and the greatness that you're bringing into the world. So I love the tie-in to the social media, the Mr. Greatness. I think it's a wonderful thing when we can give ourselves those large, large titles that actually mean so, so much in a very particular way. So kudos to you. Thank you for everything that you do. Thanks for obviously always supporting what we're doing here at CHIP. So I'll be excited to have you back. So everyone, thanks again for tuning in on this Juneteenth holiday. I hope you have a blessed one. Always continue to support businesses, specifically Black-owned businesses, support HBCUs. They all need that support and that love. So thanks again, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.